Phil, what do you know and what are you hearing about Mr. Snowden's whereabouts at this hour?
Well, Sarah, it's exactly as Scarlett said. The airline confirmed he had purchased a ticket. They even confirmed that he had checked in via phone. The flight has left. He is not on the flight. It's open question right now where he is. The funny part is, I guess, the flight was actually full of international journalists. One seat was empty, according to postings on Twitter from these journalists. It was Edward Snowden. So this raises the big question again. Where is he? What's he going to do next? And is Ecuador still the destination, as WikiLeaks said, that he's planning to head?
And what is the Defense Department doing about it this morning? Who is their first call?
I think what you're seeing from Washington in any agency, state, DOD, Justice Department, is they're reaching out to their international counterparts. Secretary John Kerry is in India right now. He was doing a Q&A with reporters, and he basically warned countries that are involved in this. This will have negative impact on relations if you start to harbor or consider harboring Edward Snowden. This is an all-hands-on-deck type effort for the U.S. government, and I think you're going to see this across the board over the next 24 hours.
Well, Phil Mattingly, stay with us here. We've got Ambassador Richard Haas from the Council on Foreign Relations. Why Ecuador?
Absolutely no reason. I wouldn't even assume that it's there. I don't know if the status of the U.S.-Ecuador extradition agreements. It may be that. He may also be given certain assurances that if he were to go there, they wouldn't extradite him to the United States. It's a strained relationship between the government there and the United States. But there's any number of countries which are quasi-pariahs or have difficult relations with the United States or don't have active extradition treaties. So my hunch is he and the WikiLeaks people have a list, if you will, of preferred destinations.
You mentioned WikiLeaks. We've been talking about them. Exactly how much influence do they have in terms of being able to shuttle Edward Snowden from one place to the next?
Look, for all we know, a lot of this is ruse, and it's kind of, he's going to go here, he's going to go there. Exactly. But it also shows, again, it raises real questions about Mr. Snowden. So many people have called him a whistleblower hero. He's not. He committed treason. He broke the law. He's a felon. Plus, if he really believes in civil disobedience, as he says, then under Thoreau's principles, you come back, you face the music. You're willing to accept the rule of law. You make your case in court. If what motivated him is pure policy, is pure principle, why is he on the run? Why doesn't he basically make his case publicly? So I think we're giving him way too much slack.
What is the response of the government? I think of the drama of he's got little computer disks that may have sensitive stuff. We send the CIA out, you know, there'll be a movie made in Hollywood. Forget about the Hollywood part of this. What is the to-do list of clandestine government officials to get this guy?
Well, first of all, you have to do a damage assessment. What exactly did he have access to? What do we think he physically, for example, has on hard drives? Well, I assume we do it, and for all we know, he does have some stuff. Rather, he's carrying it around. So one question is how you limit the blood flow, if you will, from that. You're also going to want to think about long-term. What is it you do in order to change procedures? Why is it that literally hundreds of thousands, if not more, people might have access to this kind of stuff? Is there anything you can do, as with WikiLeaks, to change your procedures so this kind of a thing can't become, repeated, and repeated?
How did we get here? When you look at this, and Sherlock is with us later in the hour, Sarah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about spies for hire.
Who says, put it all back under one roof, a la the end of World War II. How did we get here, Richard Haas?
Well, because if you will, the modern national security state requires hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. Whether they're in uniform, whether they're civilians, parts of the intelligence agencies, law enforcement, state, local, national, what have you. Even if it's a tiny percentage of people who do what this character did, that can have enormous consequences. Well, that's what we're learning.
Richard, I'm curious about what this says about America's projection abroad. We're looking at relations between Russia and China, just coming off of a week where President Obama has been reaching out to these countries, has been trying to patch up the diplomatic relations. Is this a slap in the face?
Short answer is yes. It's a real setback because, again, it's disappointing. The Chinese, coming out of the Sunnyland Summit, talked about wanting this to be a model relationship between major powers. They talked about having win-win situations. This is many things. This is not a win-win. This is lose for us. I also think it's a lose for China because they wanted to show that they could be a potential partner. This is going to have repercussions.
Then what do? We tell the ping pong team they can't come to the United States? We did that once.
Might just change the context. For example, the Chinese may find that certain types of economic benefits they wanted, technology transfer, much less likely to happen to Chinese. This is going to have repercussions across the board. This will sour the atmosphere big time.
Wonderful. Wonderful to have you here on this day again. The latest is Edward Snowden. We really don't know where he is.
We don't know where he is. He wasn't on a flight from Moscow to...
He's supposed to be in Moscow.
He's supposed to have left in that plane.